So how can you get an accurate rear sag rating on your mountain bike, especially if you're running a coil spring like I am? Well, one way is this. Slacker has just sent me their Pro MTB kit, and this is to accurately measure sag both at the fork and your rear suspension. So let's see if we can get it to work. I'm super stoked to try this out because I've actually never gotten a complete sag rating or like an accurate sag rating on my bike. So step one is, this is only for initial setup, and if you're running a coil spring. If you're running an air spring, you can just let all the air out of the shock, but on a coil, you can't do that, so you have to disassemble it and take the coil spring off, which I've done, thusly. Here's the beautiful spring that would normally sit on there. All right, so now that I got that mounted, what I'm gonna do is pull the bike up to its full zero compressed position, and then we're gonna zero out the system and push it all the way through and take that measurement. So let's see how much travel we got. Okay, so there is the shock at its fully extended position, and we're gonna zero out the reader, and then I'm gonna push it all the way through and see what we get.
So this is where I found out that I can't get a full reading on my shock because it has a really aggressive bottom out bumper I didn't want to take off, but this is a cool way to get a reading on most bikes.
150 divided by 57.5, which gives us a leverage ratio of 2.609. Now, this is an average leverage ratio because the leverage on this bike is slightly progressive. That's not the leverage ratio at every point. However, for our estimation purposes, we can use this. So now what we can do is we can take that, we can multiply it by the new stroke length of 60, and we can get that we should have 156.5 millimeters of travel. So this again is an estimate, not an actual, and I couldn't get the actual because of a bump stop that doesn't allow me to go to fully compressed without massively bottoming out the bike, which I will not be doing in my living room. So we're going to use this value here, 156.5. Instead, I'm going to put that in the Slacker app and then reassemble my shock, and we can get to measuring. Okay, so now we can measure sag. What I'm going to do is just sort of get on here, bounce a couple times, and then steady, and we can see we're running 32% sag. That is crazy.